There is a Swiss watchmaking standard that only the most accurate mechanical movements in the world are certified to meet. Rolex has it, Omega has it, Breitling has it, and then there is Tissot, doing it for 1,100 USD. Hello, welcome back to Split Second. The first time I saw this watch, I was at Rivoli picking up a dive watch, because apparently that's just something I do now. Jaren spotted it in the case before I did and pointed at it. I told him, stop trying to make me change my mind, I just bought a watch. I was being responsible and I was exercising restraint. I walked out without it. A few weeks later, I started looking it up properly. The movement, the certification, what cosc actually means, and why it matters at this price. And the more I read about it, the more my restraint started to feel less like a virtue and more like a mistake. So I called Rivoli, found out it was the last silver dial reference they had, and picked it up after work. Jaren has not let me forget that he spotted it first. I walked into Rivoli to buy one watch and left thinking about another one. And it all comes down to 4 letters. cosc stands for something I cannot pronounce, but it is an independent Swiss testing institute that puts movements through 16 days of testing across 5 positions and 3 temperatures. To pass, the movement has to run within -4 to +6 seconds per day, every single day for 16 days. That is not marketing. That is a certificate. The reason this matters at 4,050 dirhams is cosc certification is not cheap to obtain, and most brands don't bother at this price point. Tissot cared. That tells you something about how seriously they take what's inside the watch.
To put in context, a standard automatic movement that has not been regulated can run anywhere from -10 to +30 seconds a day, depending on how it has been assembled. A well-regulated movement might get you to plus or -10. cosc is completely a different standard. You're paying for a movement that has been individually tested and certified to perform at a level most watches twice the price do not reach.
The movement is the reason I went back for this watch, but is not the reason Jaren pointed at it the first time.
I spotted this in the Rivoli case while Caleb was busy buying something else. I pointed at it. He told me to stop, trying to make him change his mind. He walked out. I said nothing. I've learned that saying nothing is more effective than saying something. The reason it caught my eye was the bezel, the fluted bezel, the way the ridges are cut, the way they catch light. It was the same energy as a Rolex Datejust. I said that out loud in the store. It's not an imitation of that bezel. It is Tissot doing their own version of a classic design language and doing it properly.
The dial is where this watch earns the word class. Silver sunburst finish and the way it behaves in the light is completely different from anything else in my collection. I have a lot of watches that jump out at you. The Ballade is quieter than that. It does not demand attention, it rewards it. You notice more the longer you look at it. The Roman numerals are applied, not printed. You can see the depth of them under the macro. And there is a detail on this dial that I have never noticed before on any of the watches I have owned. The store employee pointed it out when I picked it up. Look at the 4 o'clock position. Most people would write 4 in Roman numerals as IV. This one says 4 ones. 1, 2, 3, 4. Just 4 individual eyes in a row. And once you see it, you realize almost every watchmaker does this. Rolex, Cartier, pretty much the whole industry. I have owned watches with Roman numerals before and never once noticed this. That is the kind of detail that tells you this hobby goes a lot deeper than you think.
Under the macro, the fluted bezel is extraordinary. The ridges are perfectly uniform, the polishing between them is clean, and the way it transitions into the case is very precise. For a watch at this price point, that the level of bezel finishing is not something you expect to find. It is the detail that makes the watch look more expensive than it is from across the room.
The bracelet is Jubilee style, 5-link, center links polished, outer links brush. That combination of finishes is exactly what gives this watch a dressy quality on the wrist. The polished centers catch the light as you move, and the brushed outers keep it from looking too flashy. It is considered a piece of design. One honest gripe, there is no micro adjustment on the clasp. The links are the only way to size it, and the increments are quite large on a Jubilee bracelet. I ended up slightly snug in my current configuration because adding the next link makes it too loose. It's not uncomfortable, but it's worth knowing before you buy, especially if your wrist is in between link sizes.
The case is 39mm and 10.98mm thick. For a dress watch, that thinness matters because it is what allows it to sit under a shirt cuff properly. It does not create a bump under the fabric. It just disappears, which for a watch you are wearing to an event or a meeting is exactly what you want. The exhibition caseback is something I appreciate on any watch at this level. You can see the Powermatic 80 rotor moving through it. The movement decoration is not extravagant, but it's clean and it gives you something to look at when you take the watch off at the end of the day.
I have been wearing tool watches since I started my collection, from the Baltic to my Casios. All of these watches are designed to go somewhere with you, survive something, do a job. The Ballade is the first watch I own that is not about any of that. It is a watch you put on because the occasion deserves it. A dinner, an event, something that has a dress code. It feels premium on the wrist in a way that's completely different from everything else I own. The outside of this watch makes a really strong argument. Then you flip it over and the argument gets even stronger.
The movement is Powermatic 8611, in-house Tissot caliber, 25 jewels, Nivachron hairspring. The Nivachron is worth mentioning because it is a non-magnetic alloy developed specifically for precision and resistance to temperature changes. Most entry-level movements use a standard steel hairspring. Tissot used something better. 80 hours of power reserve. That means you can take the watch off on Friday night and leave it on your nightstand, and it is still running on Monday morning. For an automatic watch, this is genuinely useful and you are not constantly worrying about whether it has run down.
Most automatic movements give you 38 to 48 hours of power reserve. Tissot getting 80 hours out of this caliber is a significant engineering achievement, and is one of the things that made me research this watch properly out of the first time I walked past it. On paper, 80 hours sounds like a spec. In daily life, it means you barely have to think about it.
The movement runs at 21,600 vibrations per hour, which is on the lower end for a modern automatic. Higher beat movements like those running at 28,800 are generally considered more accurate in theory. The cosc certification makes the conversation irrelevant for this watch because the accuracy has been independently verified regardless of the best rate. You are not taking Tissot's word for it. You have a certificate. The movement makes the price look even more unreasonable than it already did. But there are two things about this watch I think are worth being honest about.
Everything about this watch punches above its price. The cosc certification, the 80-hour power reserve, the Nivachron hairspring, the fluted bezel finishing, the exhibition caseback, any of those details at a different brand would cost you significantly more. Tissot put all of them in one watch and priced it at 1,100 USD. That is a difficult argument to counter, and the versatility is something I keep coming back to. This is one of those watches in my collection that I can wear to a boardroom, a dinner, a wedding, or a Friday afternoon, and it's never wrong. That kind of versatility is genuinely hard to find at this price.
The bracelet micro adjustment issue is real, and Caleb already mentioned it. For a watch positioned as dress piece, where comfort and fit are everything, not having a micro adjustment on the clasp is a genuine oversight. You feel it when you are between link sizes, and there is nothing you can do about it without going to a watchmaker. The date at 3 o'clock also interrupts what would otherwise be perfectly balanced dial. I understand the function, but on a watch this elegant, a no-date version would have been extraordinary.
The only real question with this watch is whether you need a dress watch. If your life is mostly casual, mostly outdoors, mostly occasions where any other watch would be perfectly appropriate, the Ballade might not be the one for you right now. But if you have one event a month where you reach for your wrist and think, I wish I had something a bit more considered, this is exactly the watch. Which brings us to the numbers. And at this price, the number is the most surprising thing about it. 4,050 AED at Rivoli. This is after their standard discount from a retail price of 4,500 AED. For context, 4,050 AED gets you a cosc certified Swiss automatic movement, 80 hours of power reserve, a Nivachron hairspring, an exhibition case back, a fluted bezel with finishing that references watches 3 times the price, and a Jubilee bracelet with polished center links. The bracelet micro adjustment is one thing that does not quite match the rest. This is still a very short list of compromises.
It looks like a date just. It costs 4,000 dirhams. Please do not scratch it.